I start with Mozart.
Yes. Of course, now and then, just now and then, it seems a touch. What do you mean, Simon? Well, I mean, occasionally it seems to have. How shall one say? How shall one say directly? Too many notes, Your Majesty. Exactly. Very well put. Too many notes. I don't understand. There are just as many notes, Majesty, as are required, neither more nor less. Well, I get that. There are, in fact, only so many notes the ear can hear in the course of an evening. I think I'm right in saying it. Aren't I, Mr. Composer? Yes. Yes. Yes, Majesty. Yeah, that's it. Your work is ingenious. It's quality work. And there are simply too many notes. That's all. Just a few, and it'll be perfect. Which few did you have in mind, Majesty?
No. So that was a genius conversation. So this is my list of content, but I only make list of contents because people ask for it, and then the whole the presentation will be totally mixed up with all these subjects. So don't take attention. So I always also added some personal observations to think about it, and I make a note of the symbols I love. This is what I designed myself. It means the sign outside a restaurant. It means no music in this restaurant, so you can talk. Too many symbols. Well, this is a very common situation in Italy. Sorry, I hear someone. Okay, so there are too many signs, and it is repeated after 100 meters. You get the whole series again. There must be millions of these kind of road signs in Tuscany alone. So I designed a poster which is meant to be put on the border of Tuscany, and it says it gives you all the information. It can be misty, it can be curvy, there can be falling rocks, and there can be animal crossing the road. And then you are right, and then you can remove all the signs because they are redundant. So, and that makes the environment much more nicely. This is the washing symbols. On the left, you see the symbols which are standards. In the board of I draw this. This is the symbols are replaced to make it more comprehensible. And that was in a series of a newspaper. I tried to repair annoying design mistakes. Here are a whole series of these washing symbols, and I had contact with the Standardization Institute of Washing Symbols, and they said, well, these symbols are not for the clients, but they're for the staff of the laundry, that they can avoid legal claims. So they're not for the clients. That is strange. I was in quite a discovery. Then came the Red Cross organization. The Red Cross is a reverse color scheme from the Swiss flag. But in around 2000, the Red Cross organization forbid every commercial application of the Red Cross. So here on the right, you see we use the Red Cross for the first aid at Schiphol Airport, but that was forbidden. They wrote a letter to all airports on the world. They have to replace them, and the official first aid symbol is a white cross on green. So, but then we didn't like it because if the green first aid, there were too many green signs anyway. So what we did, we reversed the colors again to the Swiss flag colors. So this is actually, it means Swiss. Nobody noticed, nobody complained. So then we have the environmental symbols. It's a variety, hundreds of them. There's no system in it. Some are nice, so like this man, I have no idea what's he doing, but there's an enormous amount of these kind of waste symbols, and there's no standardization at all. And here you see a package from cleaning detergent. And you see there's so many series. It's endless. But maybe sometimes there will be a manufacturer or organization who will standardize these symbols. And this is our waste, sorting waste disposal. And these are not symbols, they are just illustrations what illustrate the meaning of this specific waste disposal. But they are not they are illustrations, and I want to make the difference clear. There are pictograms which can be standardized, and there are just illustrations, and they can be replaced when the packaging changes or the bottle changes. You just simply adapt the drawing. This is a nice cartoon I like to show, and a picture means same. Well, I have to remove this bar. Do you all see this bar?
It's fine.
Well,
it's fine.
Yeah, can I remove this bar?
I don't see it.
I don't think it's there.
And now we have sound. Okay, well, it's a nice illustration example. The girl tries to imagine a flower, and you see all the people, all the children have different meaning, a different interpretation, and of course only the boy here, he thinks it's an airplane, and so there's also a gender issue here. Then we have this beautiful symbol from a cartoon magazine. It means that not all the traffic signs have to be taken literally. If you see, for example, the sign of a zebra, it doesn't mean there is a zebra, or lying, and if they say it's a crossing, doesn't mean there is a crossing, and there will be no locomotive, what is on the sign. So symbols are not serious taken literally. And I like this German, this is Schrittfahren, that means drive at walking space. These kind of symbols is my favorite, because it's exactly what you think the meaning. So it's a very almost childish way of expressing the meaning, and I think they are the most successful symbols always. And if you find a visual thesaurus, you can find it on me as an app. You see symbol has, let's say, 10 different meanings or different field of content. But if you look to a sign, you see much more different adaptations of the sign. So a sign is a much more broader use, but that doesn't mean anything. This side, I only want to show you that there is a difference between sign and thing. This is a wonderful diagram from Murakoshi, and it's one of the many ways to attempt to categorize symbols, which are not very useful, but only for the designers itself to get some idea about what they are doing. So there are abstract symbols here, arbitrary, you just have to learn them, there's no meaning about the form. There's the real pictograms, they're just the visuals, and you have pictograms which are not actually pictograms, but they're part of the alphabet, like the WC or P, etc. So there are the three main categories, and I added a kind of learning curve to it. These are the pictograms are easy to learn. The alphabet ones, has to do with your education. Did you learn a language? And then you have the arbitrary, and everyone has to learn them. This is from Van der Roos, my colleague, and it's a very nice, clear scheme. And it's also meant to help the client think about what his goal is. This is from a student of mine, and it's a diagram. It shows the way from a pictogram, from images to text. And here ends in the red, orange, there ends the pictograms, and then you have unlimited to many. But in the language, it's different, it's text. In Chinese, you have about 10,000 characters. And we, in the English world, we do it only with 26 characters. So it's much easier to learn. So it's a nice, interesting scheme to see what symbols are, in which context they can be used. I transferred this scheme to a two-way diagram. So the more abstract, like characters, the less is the cultural spread, the cultural distribution. So a 3D model is the best model to reach every cultural level. and so on. But there are only, and this is from my Kaiji Koyama from Japan, and I only show it because he has an interesting focus. He shows which category uses he can expect, and that makes it interesting. So he doesn't claim pictograms for everybody, but they should be for some categories. And from that, I made a scheme, the willingness of learning, I called it. So, for example, road signs is 100% learning willingness, because you need to learn them to get your driver's license. If you have a car, of course you want to drive in your car. You are less willingness to learn all the symbols in your car. You only use them as there's your car breaks, and then you want to know what it is. In healthcare, if you are a patient, there are hardly any willingness to learn the healthcare pictograms, but there's no need only for the visitors. Of course, they can be helpful to know some of the symbols to find their family. The textile washing symbols has a very low learning status. Public transportation a little more, because you want to find your daily platform, you train, so there's a kind of willingness. But the public transport symbols for infrequent travelers, they are less, because they have no idea what they mean. Besides symbols, you have special symbols, commercial symbols, trademarks, logos. There are some favorite ones, the Michelin one, everyone. It's a trademark, but it's also a symbol of traveling, etc. Then you have the British Rail, what is one of the best logos ever. As the wool mark is one of the best. And then you have some funny ones, like this is a bicycle manufacturer in the 1920s. And this is a food manufacturer in England. Volkswagen, of course, is a famous. And this is a mover, Japanese mover firm who brings your good safely at home from one A to B. This is one of my favorite mascots. It's a mole, and it's designed by Anton Beke, and it shows the entrance of the Amsterdam metro system. It's never executed because the city decided that the mole is a harmful animal for allotment gardeners. So they ruin your garden, so it's a negative association. I have a little step to traffic signs, because this is the most interesting application of symbols. And you see, this is a train crossing, and you see how many symbols, colors, stripes, text, etc. is used to convey all kind of information. So that makes it interesting. The first traffic signs appeared in 1905 or about that. Italy were the first. And these are the first Italian signs, road signs, and they are beautiful because they try really to illustrate a curve or a cut or a cut in a way or whatever. So I really like them because they have an illustrated quality. And I commented later. And these are from an English book of traffic signs. And you see there's a whole evaluation of traffic signs. You see the round circle is coming. But other ones are still like this. This is a school with a flame, and so they have. This is just a coming and evaluation, and symbols in evaluation. And these traffic signs, you could learn them if you have dinky toys. And this was the first generation. And look at the difference between this is. Can you see my cursor? Oh, hello. Can you see my cursor?
Yes, we can.
Yep. Yes,
This is the old English road signs. School is with a torch, as you can see here. And there's a torch of wisdom, of learning. And later it was replaced by two children crossing. So that's that's a wonderful step. And this is a lot of universities use this torch as a center of learning. And this was funny. This is not dozing, sleeping in your car, but it means different curves in your road. And it's a strange development of these pedestrian signs. I call it from walking to running. and finally to stumbling. So you see, first they stand still or had a slow walk, but at the end the traffic then started to run, and of course this was a joke that you have to run for your life. But it's interesting to see the movement from just safely walk and run for your life. This is a traffic sign in Italian cities. But here you see a red circle, it means no entry for vehicles. But there are all kind of exceptions, and you have to read them. So basically this sign has no meaning because you had to read all these Italian explanations. The circle on the traffic sign on itself has no meaning. You have to learn. You have to know the text. And the next one is the London congestion sign, and it's much more clear because everybody knows that congestion, a trademark or symbol, and you don't have to be clarified only when it is applicable, but that's it. And you have to realize that if we are on a road, the road is really full of stripes, arrows, dotted lines, etc. And you are supposed to know all these abstract or these illustrated elements, because if you are participate on traffic, so it's an amazing play of colored lanes, etc. So okay, I have to hurry, and I have some tragedy, some sadness. This is designed for me for a warning for plastic bags to warn, don't give them to children to avoid suffocation. And this is lost children at the expo in Japan. These are some Japanese symbols from the standardization organizations. And attenti al treno with that skull I like. So for me is the attractiveness, not especially the functionality, of course, but I have to like them. And that's an important thing designers often forget. And this is an emergency. This is an evacuation program with running people with their children on their arm. And that I like it. It's an emotional, very strong sign. And that's, for me, that's what matters. It must be an emotional element. And there are some of other favorites. We were for pickpockets here. And heavy winds in the metro, your head can be blown off. But if your head blows off, there's a station master here on the Tokyo rail station. He has a kind of hook or whatever, and he can pick up the little head of the school children if they get blown away. And this is the COVID troubles. We designed it in the period of COVID, that you have to keep distance. Working at home with the cat, and then here to symbolize how far is 1.5 meters. Okay, what symbols can do? This is the railway symbols. They are international standardized by the railway organization, so they're applicable for all railways, rail organizations in the world. And that's 1970. This is the Dutch railways modification by Gert Dunbar. And then they did a test, the psychologists did a test. And the amazing thing is that half of the symbols of the Dutch railways didn't reach the rate of acceptance. That must be understood by 67%. If it's lower, like these, they are not acceptable, because sometimes the people can just think the reverse meaning, so they are not to be used. And we were struck that it was half of the symbols were not usable. So what we did is, we added a caption in every symbol, because you always have to learn, and there are always newcomers or infrequent users, and they forget about the meaning of the symbols. So we added this text, and we still are very proud on that. So pictograms can never work alone. Even at Schiphol, we did it always with the meaning, and it works wonderful. And we had also the blue box or the white box to identify the Dutch railways, because in the German railways you have also blue signs. These are the whole family, and you see everything has a blue square, that means Dutch railways, and the caption of the meaning if you don't know the meaning. We didn't do anything of the pictograms themselves. And it's remarkable that, and especially in American-based countries, even Jamaica, I think it's Jamaica, and they don't trust the symbols. So they always add the text on it, as you can see. And that's a very English way. I always see it. The pictograms are a very European tool, and in the US you see always less. You see the use is less, and you see them always with text, at least many times. This is an interesting advertisement of Toyota. It means that with all the symbols in your car, you have to learn a new language, and that's exactly what it is. You have to learn a new language. And what a lot of people don't know is that the pictograms for car industry, as it is, they're not meant for us, but they save money for the car manufacturers, because they can produce one model of car and can export them to anywhere in the world, because they have the pictograms, and before they had text. So every country has another car model with a text in that language where they export. And so the pictograms of electronic devices, they are not meant for the public, they are meant for the manufacturer. It saves them hundreds of millions of dollars or whatever it is. It's not for the public. People forget that. And the basic thing is that I have to move it. I cannot read my own. So verbal language is based on a system of arbitrary characters. Symbols are based on representations of reality. Both have to be learned. Only the learning effort differs. This is an interesting example. So on the left you see car symbols, and what you see in your car. And they're similarly for every car worldwide, as I explained. The advantage is that you can drive in any car in the world without learning, if you know your own car. And the next one is traffic signs, because this is a message, but you cannot read them. It read this sign, you have to make signs a lot bigger. But instead of big sign, you can use the traffic sign you see. So this is as legible as this, but the text needs 5 times as much of space. And not only the distance, but only the size of the pictograms are useful, because you can apply them on remote controls, as we have hundreds of them in the house, of tens. So that's the advantage, is the distance. You can recognize them, and you can use them on very small tools to show the meaning. So it's not it's more the practical reasons, the readability, or the service, or the small service to apply them. It's not especially that they are better communicating. So I should be halfway now. I have no idea. And then, of course, I have a kind of how do you call it? Like a prophet. I have to teach designers. I have to learn them that designers have the tendency to think about the graphics as they are, but not about the meaning. So the function. And this says it beautiful. Designers think that the cute pictogram will help illiterate persons, but in fact these people do read and they write, but they have limited linguistic proficiency and should be called people with low literacy. That's completely different. So they can read, they can see an image, but they have a limited knowledge. And there's a wonderful writer, nobody knows it, Vogelzang, Andreas Vogelzang, in About Understanding Ideas and Observation and Cross-Cultural Communications. It's a UNESCO book, nobody knows it, we have it in our library, of course. And it's an amazing book, and it tells them how perspective views is something from the Western world, but in Africa they have no idea about perspective. So children, if they draw a car, they only can make a good car in their own eyes if they have 4 wheels. So you have to see the whole car. And a car with only 2 wheels, they have no idea that it is only a perspective view. So, and it's a very interesting book, and you can learn a lot of that. These are from a Japanese book and the Japanese standard, I think, for airports. And the frequent question I always get is, are there cultural differences between countries regarding pictograms? And I can assure there are no cultural differences in the world at all. There are only local variations, and this shows it very well. So there are 3 kinds of restaurants: international, Chinese, and Japanese restaurants, and they differ a little. So, but it's not a cultural difference; it's a local variation. They have different habits, and so it's not a cultural restriction. Okay, designer pitfalls. There are many: overrating, underrating, redundancy, ambiguity, obsoletism, and many others, but also creativity, I have to admit. And this is a famous one for odd-sized luggage. And we had a violin in Holland, but in Miami, I think, they use the surf plank because the travelers in Miami, they don't play violin, they surf. And you see here, so there are airports, we use them all, so it can be wheelchairs, etc. Small size is, you have to clarify what you mean. This is toilets. It's the most frequent question on every airport. Not where is my gate, but where are the restrooms? It's question number 1. And it's amazing, there are cultural differences. This is a Japanese temple. So this is they have the color ones. The male are blue and the women are red. So that's the same here. But this is they are dressed in a local temple dress uniform. And I like this too. It's from India. The woman has a typical Indian shirt, or what do you call it? And this is on a camping. And that explains that this girl, they know how to play chess, otherwise they couldn't use the toilet. So, and pictograms, the toilets are always a sensible subject. I was showed. Oh, I thought I had one. Oh, that comes later. Well, now we come to the heart of my critic. So this is the healthcare symbols. And if you look literally, they're completely crazy. Look at this. Is this a man who's playing discs or something? Is this growing flowers or whatever? It's complete nonsense. And this is a zipper. Is someone with a zipper. And but it's because of the hospitals think about their specialty. But you only can use symbols from objects. What's here? I show it. The use of pictograms in visual communication is limited to concrete matters of which the function is well known to users. And you see, none of these symbols are understandable, have no meaning for users. And for example, sometimes you can even better use these pictograms for exit than the words exit and sometimes are more clear than these symbols because the arrows are often confused. Entrance and exit are often confused. And we learned from a hospital in Amsterdam that this sign, what means to ophthalmology, but people don't understand it. They thought it was a shop in the hospital where you can buy spectacles. And so they have to remove it. And it was for my an eye opener that this symbol didn't work in the hospital. So way out and an arrow, that's all we need. It's better than any pictogram at all. And even in Japan, here you have this emergency exit with the stairs, beautiful combined in this one symbol. This is an Hablamos Juntos. That's an SEGD initiative. It's complete nonsense, complete. And Fenne, my colleague, Fenne Roos, we wrote a paper about it. It's published by the SEGD. It's all started with the wrong from the viewpoint, as I explained already. And for example, these are the official symbols, and I think Sibylle showed them already. And I will show which symbols are not be understood at all. And there are so many, and because they can have different interpretations. And so these signs are not useful, not for the medical specialism or department, not for the wayfinding. They only can help for the professional people, maybe. And so, for example, who knows what this is? And if you have no idea what this is, you have no use to the symbol. And well, I cannot play with you to show what it is. I can help you. This is how it looks in your body, but that is not helpful at all. I have no idea what it is. But it is the logo. It's the stomach, liver, and intestine, and the foundation for that diseases. They use this as a logo, which is of course stupid. I have no idea that my liver looks like this. But so this is the misunderstanding, that if you don't know the liver, if you have never seen them, you cannot use it in a visual way. But this one you can use. These are objects that everybody can see around. So these are useful symbols. So I thought I made a sign special for today to show symbols for wayfinding, not to indicate the medical specialism, only to show them how to get there. So, for example, chapel or diabetes, you have to know if your doctor has said, and then you follow the umbrella or whatever, and then that's it. That's all. It doesn't mean that infectious is not symbolized by a duck. It's only the route to doing a third floor. And of course, and the blood test, you can do a microscope, etc. And they're all standard Apple symbols. You don't have to pay a fancy design office. You can just have them for free. And that is the amazing thing. But the designers think, oh, we have to design our own new medical health symbols. It costs a lot of money, and research is all wasted money. And there's one Boston Children's Hospital. I have never been there, but I know the case. And it is a perfect example how you can use symbols or whatever you call it. You see here, so they use arbitrary symbols, what children and their parents can understand. And then you follow the route to the Bader, I don't know what it is. It doesn't matter, but they didn't make the mistake that the symbol is representing the faculty or whatever. And it's really perfect. So, and I never found out who designed it. There are claims from different agencies, but it's perfect. And then we come to Mexico. In Mexico, there's a city, Mexico City, and they have a metro. And the metro, every stop in the metro, there are hundreds of them. It's a big network. They use these symbols. And I understood they are designed by Lance Wyman. But it's complete nonsense. Because if you're illiterate, that doesn't mean that you understand this symbol. If you have intellectual restrictions, it doesn't help you. You can even better use the word, etc. I will go into the detail. This is the complete network, hundreds of symbols, and some symbols you cannot understand because the colors has the same almost. You cannot see this green and that green. People cannot see it, especially in dark light, in difficult lighting senses. And you have no idea. How can I say to someone, you have to go to this stop with what it is? I have no idea. But it has a name, viaducts it's called, or xola. It's easier to understand, to remember the word cola, you can scribe it, then say, oh, it's a kind of, maybe it's a fountain, I have no idea. So it makes no sense. It's a designer's mistake. And the system is complete wrong. And I made a study of the Tokyo Metro, and look how that works. The Japanese railways, they have colored lines. Everyone has the same in Mexico. But the stops, so this is a station where 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 subway railway line stops. And every on every line, the station has a number, but they have all different numbers because they have different lanes. And it looks complicated, but it works perfectly. Let me show. So take the M line and change at the station M18 for the C line and exit at the station C8. Easy peasy. We have done it many times. But what happens in Mexico, take the B line, okay, and change at station and then what? What is this for, oh God's sake? And then you go for the 1 and 2 12 line and you go to the station. What is that for? Yeah, I will never reach that. I have to take care. Now with the numbered station in Tokyo, well, I know that the station 10, 18 comes after 17, and when I see M19, I know I'm too late. So, and how can I explain to this by phone? I meet you at station, whatever. So it is a design. I cannot pitfall from the worst kind. And that's another thing in Nokia. It's a little device. Children have that LP. Look here. Every station has their own identification melody, so people know which train is coming and which station they have to depart. And there's a whole scheme. We keep it on.
Paul, I think we've lost the sound.
Okay, it's perfect. Only the disadvantage is that on the platform in a Tokyo station, it's a complete hell of music tones, all playing their tunes. But for children and for other people, it works perfectly. So this is Schiphol Airport, and for the parking, and these are tested, and they were all well recognized. But we had one category I will show you now. It is P3, it's a long distance, and we showed the images of big cities. Only Venice and Paris were recognized. None of the other cities were recognized by the common public. They had no idea this was Brandenburg, this is Egypt, no idea. And they didn't recognize it as a symbol. They didn't recognize it as nothing. So we have to replace them by this. I forgot what it is, so many years ago, but we had to replace them because no, and we did. Sometimes you forget, you made an error as a designer. You think higher than you can expect. So this is a common disaster in elevators. This is open the doors. This is closing the doors, but they're both built up by triangles. And so in a hurry, if you want to, for example, is coming running, you will open the doors and then you push this one because it looks so similar. So we designed just as a showcase. This is the opening, so you see there's a space to open it for a window, and this is the close one. Of course, it's never executed, but this is a typical example that a designer thinks, oh, it's a very symmetrical symbol, it's very cute and so, but it doesn't work, and for obvious reason. And I like this Japanese much better. Be aware for two doors, it cuts your finger like a crepe. And that is much more communicative than these symbols. Oh, okay, we're almost there. A global visual language of best may create a teaching aid for dual communication.
I probably should just.
Andreas Fuglesang. And some symbols, interesting, they are survived. We call it obsoletism. So obsoletism, sorry about my English. I'm in Italy, I was used to speak Italian, now I have to speak in English. And so this envelope still exists, but now it means email. This symbol, or telephone horn, still exists, but now it means call me, or I call. And that is interesting that some symbols survive, but their meaning changes. This is the Amsterdam Metro. Every line has its own color coded for almost a century. You see it here on the entrance. It has no. Then they got the numbers, and now it's obsolete, but it doesn't matter, and they kept it as a kind of tradition. This is the old sign, Italian sign, and we have no idea about those. You have no idea what this sign. This can be boat. This is post, the mailbox. This is a train. This is maybe a telegraph. This is a telegraph, but it is no idea. Maybe it's a bed. So some symbols become obsolete. This is in Germany. It means unguarded train crossing 300 meters ahead, but it is not a railway museum. And there were in Germany some children, they saw this sign. They have never seen a modern locomotive in their life. So its association is that it is a railway museum. So they run ahead and walked on the rail tracks, and they were killed by the high-speed train from Berlin to Hamburg, as I made an animation to show it. So this was what happened. No locomotive to see. So in Germany, they changed the sign for a modern-looking, high-modern train. Another thing is, this, of course, some signs became obsolete because this car won't be recognized, so you have to change them. The same is for locomotive, as I showed. But this is silly. This means bus, postbus, or whatever. But in the time that there was a bus or a coach that blew a horn to warn people that the mail was coming. So, but then they modernized them, but there's no reason. The horn is the horn. There's nothing to it. It's the same thing. It never changed. But that is the arrogancy of designers. Oh, we have to modernize the horn, but why? It becomes not more clever. And this is how it works. Dit was the post auto with the first tones of the William Tell Overture by Rossini. Okay, then the toilet. This was the official standard of ISO, of a toilet, restroom. A bowl and a man, or a bowl and a woman. It changed after here. This is the modern version. So what happens? They changed. They left out this, and then they left out this. Now, so everything, this was remaining. And here you see a modern design by Lex Reitsma. So the contemporary unisex toilet sign is just the toilet and nothing else. And in a way, it's an improvement. Water closet is especially for German clients, because they use that word often. So it's an amazing step backwards or forwards. But it simplifies the matter. And then of course, Schiphol, they have many symbols. Sometimes we don't even ourselves realize how many symbols we use at Schiphol Airport. But the best one is not here. I will show what is the best symbol at Schiphol Airport. That is the B. Because the people from the maintenance of the toilets, they noticed that the men always peed along the bowl. So what he did is he asked the manufacturer to print the B inside that man's urinal. And then it worked. Every man was trying to hit the B, and the toilet was kept clean. And that's the best symbol in Schiphol Airport ever. This is interesting. This is how it looks like. A man kidnapping a child to abuse him. And so we have to replace them, or not me, but Holland, for a neutral figure with a neutral child. But still, people ask, especially if you see the context of this alley, people don't think it solved the problem. Then it's the last category, cartoons, anthropomorphism, and onomatopoeia. Oh my God. These signs, if I click on these signs, I jump to the end. So, but I have more of them, just escape. This is my favorite, Gert Arns. So it's beautiful. They have all kind of elements. They have instructions. So it's not a symbol, but it's a cartoon. It's a storytelling. You make a phone call. If the person is taking the phone, you call. If not, you hang up and you get your money back. And this is the Dutch-American Homeland Security. They made a whole cartoon about process of embarking or disembarking. It's not very good, but it is at least a cartoon. It's a narrative. And this I like. This is the professional IKEA storytelling. It's if you buy complicated equipment, you have to call the technician to help to install you. And it's wonderful done. I cannot. It's beautiful done. It's clear, and especially because it shows also what happens if you don't. If you do it yourself, then it will be disaster. And that's always the best thing. This is not the way you do it. This is the way you should do it. And there's a whole series, and every design has a collection like this. And don't even think of parking here. Of course, that's the best symbol ever. And but there are many ones, and but everyone has a collection of this. But they can be beautiful and very effective. This is the metro in Paris. This is they just said, don't be careful. You can fall off the platform into the electrified rail. And the Japanese, they made a whole cartoon about it. Here, a woman is lying on the tracks. The man is screaming, and then he pushes the alarm, and then all kind of things happen. I like that, but it's much too complicated. But it's effective in the way that you see it on the platform. It attracts your attention, and you study it, and then you remember. And this is the newest one. It's called with products would become human anthropomorphic symbols. So this refrigerator gets human characters, and it shows you which sounds, if this sound is okay, but the other sound is too close, whatever. So there's a combination of sound and behavior of products of the human scale, and it's a very nice done. It's done by Boss. And this is very nice. It's all about sounds. Who is so, and they call it. I have to.
Paul, you're mute.
Yeah, I think we've lost you again, Paul.
On that, yes. Okay, sorry. I hope it's not for all time.
No, just a couple of seconds.
So, and this is my favorites, how to toast bread. And this is don't touch me with your tools, ask the repairman. And this is my really favorite. This is don't smoke while walking. And this cigarette is very sad and does walking. And I like this. It humanizes the products, and I like that. Oh, so pictorial grammar has nouns, verbs, short sentences, and narrations. And that's important, that symbol has not one meaning, but it has different meanings. Oh. So this is an example of grammar. This is the grammar of the Dutch railway signs. And there's a system, a grammar is, it counts up. First the tracks, then the connections, then the surfaces, and then the exit, and then the direction, which is on the left or on the right, it depends, and then you have the identification. So there's a kind of visual grammar in this. It always tells the same story, but depending on the size of the sign and the amount of surfaces, the form changes, but the grammar remains the same. This is my almost last slides. It's a very poor joke, but it's funny. Men to the left because women are always right. And my really last quote is from Jock Kinneir, one of my heroes. And he said, why all this problem with the pictograms? Let us learn English. Then we know a language and we have no symbols. And in a way, he's right. Just learn English. It applies for so many things. So thank you. This is my Bibles, my books. Traffic Science by Jock Kinneir, The Visual Word van Spencer, The Dreyfus Bible, Sémiologie Graphique by Jacques Bertin. Nobody knows it, but it is a wonderful book of information graphics. Of course, Modern Making a Man by Otto Neurath. And this is the book from Andreas Vogelsang. I really can recommend it for designer. Read Andreas Vogelsang. And for some joy and inspiration, there's the old book from Nigel Holmes, who couldn't be here tonight. And this is a funny book about pictograms from my friend Keiji Koyama. So, thank you. You have seen 1789 symbols. And too many, okay, sorry. And I want to thank Nigel, Keiji, Sue Perks, and of course Martin, SCGD, and Mijksenaar Lab, and Gert Arns.